Joan Baez is an American folk singer, songwriter, musician, and activist who was born on January 9, 1941, in Staten Island, New York. She is best known for her powerful, distinctive voice, her ability to interpret songs from a wide range of genres, and her commitment to social justice and political activism. Baez first gained national attention in the early 1960s as part of the folk music revival, which was centered in the Greenwich Village neighborhood of New York City. She became known for her performances of traditional folk songs and her passionate political activism, particularly in support of the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement. Throughout her career, Baez has released over 30 albums, including several gold and platinum records. She has collaborated with a wide range of musicians and artists, including Bob Dylan, Pete Seeger, and Jackson Browne, among others. In addition to her musical accomplishments, Baez has also been an outspoken advocate for social justice and political activism, particularly on issues related to human rights, nonviolence, and environmentalism. She has received numerous awards and honors for her contributions to music and activism, including induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Kennedy Center Honors, and the National Medal of Arts. Here are 25 of Joan Baez's most popular songs along with the names of their composers. Diamonds and Rust, Joan Baez. The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, Robbie Robertson, The Band. We Shall Overcome, traditional, adaptation by Pete Seeger. Blowin' in the Wind, Bob Dylan. Joe Hill, Earl Robinson and Alfred Hayes. Blessed Are, Joan Baez. The Ballad of Sacco and Vanzetti, Woody Guthrie. Forever Young, Bob Dylan. Here's to You, Ennio Morricone and Joan Baez. Love is Just a Four-Letter Word, Bob Dylan. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, traditional. Farewell, Angelina, Bob Dylan. There But for Fortune, Phil Ochs. Mary Hamilton, traditional. House of the Rising Sun, traditional. Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, Bob Dylan. Imagine, John Lennon. Oh Freedom, traditional. Rejoice in the Sun, Tom Springfield. Silent Running, Mike plus the Mechanics. Gracias a la Vida, Violeta Parra. What Have They Done to the Rain, Malvina Reynolds. A Hard Rain's A Gonna Fall, Bob Dylan. Where Have All the Flowers Gone? Pete Seeger. Let It Be, The Beatles. Joan Baez has had a long and distinguished career as a folk singer, songwriter, and political activist. Some of her greatest achievements include: music career. Baez has released over 30 albums throughout her career, including several gold and platinum records. She has been recognized for her powerful and distinctive voice, as well as her ability to interpret songs from a wide range of genres. Civil rights activism. Baez was a prominent figure in the civil rights movement of the 1960s, and she used her music to help promote the cause. She performed at many civil rights rallies and events, and she was particularly involved in the Freedom Summer voter registration campaign in Mississippi in 1964. Anti-war activism. Baez was also a vocal opponent of the Vietnam War, and she used her platform to raise awareness about the devastating effects of the conflict. She participated in numerous anti-war rallies and protests, and she famously sang The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down at the 1969 Woodstock Festival. Humanitarian work. Baez has been involved in a wide range of humanitarian causes throughout her career, including supporting refugees and advocating for nonviolence and social justice. She has worked with organizations such as Amnesty International, Doctors Without Borders, and Oxfam America. Awards and recognition. Baez has received numerous awards and honors for her contributions to music and activism, including induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Kennedy Center Honors, and the National Medal of Arts. Overall, Joan Baez's greatest achievements lie in her ability to use her music and her platform to promote social justice and political activism, and to inspire generations of musicians and activists to do the same. Joan Baez and Bob Dylan had a complex relationship that was both personal and professional. They first met in the early 1960s, when Baez was already an established folk singer and Dylan was just starting out. Baez was immediately drawn to Dylan's music and began performing his songs, which helped to bring Dylan to a wider audience. The two also became romantically involved, and their relationship was the subject of much speculation and fascination among fans and the media. Baez continued to perform Dylan's songs and promote his music, even after their relationship ended. However, tensions began to arise between the two as Dylan moved away from the traditional folk music that Baez was known for and began exploring more electric and experimental sounds. Baez was initially critical of Dylan's new direction, but she later came to appreciate his work and even incorporated some of his more experimental songs into her own repertoire. Despite the ups and downs of their relationship, Baez and Dylan remained connected throughout their careers. They continued to collaborate and perform together on occasion, and Baez has spoken fondly of Dylan in interviews and memoirs. Joan Baez had officially retired from touring and performing live. She announced her retirement in 2018, and her final tour concluded in 2019. However, she has continued to work on various projects related to her music and activism, and she remains an influential figure in the folk music community. Joan Baez is also an author and has written several books throughout her career. Daybreak, 1968, a memoir of her early years as a musician and activist. And A Voice to Sing With, 1987, a second memoir, which covers her experiences as a performer and activist during the 1960s and 1970s. The Madonnas of Leningrad, 2011, a novel that tells the story of an elderly woman who survived the siege of Leningrad during World War II. Am I Pretty When I Fly? 2023 April, a book of upside-down drawings. Baez is also a noted writer of poetry and has published several volumes of her own work, as well as collections of poetry by other writers.
Mr. President, First Lady, your family, you are so much loved. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. One day, Dr. King realized that nonviolence fight went far beyond the shores of this great country. went far across the sea to war that was being fought by God's children on both sides of that great fight. And he knew that he had to speak out against that, and he was afraid. He was very afraid. So we all raised our voices just a little bit louder, and we said, "We are not afraid today. We are not afraid today. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I know that I do believe that we shall overcome someday. Thank you so much.